Welcome to the Side Hustle Couple Journey. Today's side hustle is all about eBay, specifically 4 things you should know before you even think about selling on eBay. Tip number 1 when you're thinking about starting your eBay side hustle. So what are you going to sell? The possibilities are endless. You can sell anything on eBay. You can sell something from the smallest little thing to a whole pallet full of stuff. Now, I recommend, unless you're already a shipping expert, don't start with large things. Start with small things. But beyond that, 2 things you want to consider when you're thinking about what you're going to be selling on eBay. So, do you want to niche down? Like, in other words, do you want to specialize in something, or do you want to be just a general seller? So I'll kind of give you a couple pros and cons of both. So if you want to niche down, so think of this: are you like an expert on clothes or um, vintage toy trains or Pokemon cards, sports memorabilia, things like that? If you're an expert on that, it might be a good idea just a niche, sell in that particular niche, and that way you can really build a following of buyers who will keep coming back to you time and time again. Um, Obviously, the pros, what I just mentioned, is you can actually build in repeat buyers. You're the source, you're the expert, you're the go-to person for that particular thing. So let's say, for instance, so see Donald Duck back here. So let's say I was an expert in plush or toys or things like that. So maybe um, a person would come buy Donald from me, and they would see that I have a whole bunch of other plush things in my eBay store. So I'm an expert. I know what sells. I know what doesn't sell, and those buyers are just going to keep coming back to buy from me. I got a couple more stuff plush up there. I'm clearly not an expert in plush because they've been sitting for a little while, but that's okay. I know they're going to sell eventually. Off topic. The drawbacks to selling in a niche expertise, whatever, is you're kind of locked in there. So if you have a whole store full of plush, and then all of a sudden you have things like beer steins, right? Well, that's not going to quite fit into your niche. So that's a con. So you're kind of limited as to what you can buy and then resell. Um, the other thing you can do is just general merchandise. Find whatever sells and just sell that. That's what I do. I mean, as you can tell, I mean, I have the plush, I have the beer stein, I have some dishes, I have an old Howdy Doody lunchbox back here. What else do I have up here? I have a vintage digital alarm clock, which I had no idea was a thing that sold, but it does. It sells. Um, so I can sell anything. I have racks like all around here. I have children's books. I have sewing machine parts. I have puzzles. I have VHS videos. Over here, I've got boots, and I've got an old antenna. I've got Christmas decorations. Um, on and on and on. I buy things in general. I know how to research them, and in turn, I can do really well. Now, the advantage of that is you don't have to become an expert in anything, but over time, you will start to get feelings about what's going to do better than other things. So you're going to know better what to buy to resell. So that's a pro in my book. The con is you don't get so many repeat buyers. Um, I've been doing this for over a year now, and I think I've had 2 repeat buyers. Um, it just doesn't happen because they go to your store, your eBay store, and they find something they really like, but they may not find something similar that they want. So that's the only drawback. So that's what you want to think about when you start, before you even open up your eBay store. What are you going to sell? Number 2, how do you know what will sell on eBay? So you can go out and buy things that you think are really cool that you would like, but that doesn't mean that anyone else would like it or would want to spend money on it. So I'm going to talk about sell-through rate. So sell-through rate will give you an idea when you do your product research, things that will sell and won't sell. So how do you find sell-through rates? Well, you want to find things on eBay. Um, you want to find more sold listings than there are listed listings, I guess you could say. More sold items than listed items. Now that doesn't usually happen. There's usually more listed than sold, and that's okay. But you want to look for a sell-through rate. In my opinion, 40% or higher is good. So how do you get the sell-through rate? So I just took some notes here. So to get the sell-through rate, um, you want to divide the number of items sold by the number of items listed. Now this, what you do is do a search for a thing that you're thinking about selling. Um, Describe it as best you can, the model number, the color, whatever. Break it down to its core, and you're going to do a search on that. You're going to see all the ones that are listed. You're going to see, just to make it easy, let's say there's 100 listed. You're going to scroll down and you're going to show the sold items, and I'm going to demonstrate this. You're going to show the sold items. That's going to bring up a list of all that same item that was actually sold. Let's say there were 50 sold, so that's like a 50% sell-through rate. So that's pretty good. If you can get a 50% sell-through rate on everything that you list, you're going to do really well. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple of examples of sell-through rate. I'm going to show you one that has an amazing sell-through rate. If you ever find this, buy it. I'm also going to show you a product that has a bad sell-through rate and things you want to avoid. Now, you're going to find some things that you think are really cool. I think this thing is really cool, but to resell, not so much. All right, so let's start with the really good thing first. So, as you can see, I did a search here for the Taylor Swift CD debut. All right. I don't know anything about Taylor Swift. I know she's like a big thing right now. I know my daughter loves her. I don't know anything about her, but her CD sells. So the first thing I did a search, and these are just listed, and not just listed, but I even broke it down into the used listings. Okay, and so there are 169 results for this CD. So remember that those are the amount that are listed. Now I did the same search. These are used CDs, but what I did is I sorted them by sold items only. And so this is where you're going to get a picture of the sell-through rate. So the sold items of this, there are 357. So to calculate the sell-through rate, you need to divide the number of items sold by the number of active listings. So I'm just going to take out my little calculator here, and I'm going to do it on my calculator. So um, number of items sold was 357 divided by the active listings, which are 169. And so that gives us 2.11. Now you want to move the decimal point over 2 places to get the sell-through rate. So 2.11 equals 211% sell-through rate. So to give you an idea, I think for anything better than 40% sell-through rate is going to be a really big winner. Sometimes even a lower sell-through rate is good, but 211% sell-through rate is crazy. So don't pass on it. I mean, there are other things you have to consider, like the cost of the product. Like if you look at this very first one, it sold for $9.99, which isn't great. But if you scroll down, and it's pre-owned, but if you scroll down and you look at other pre-owned ones, oh, and a good point to notice. So do you notice on these listings, it says a new listing, if you're seeing new listings being sold quick, that's a pretty good indicator. So let's just scroll down. There's the one for $9.99, and then there's a $34.99, $37.99, best offer on $34.87. This one is $40, and these are all sold within the last day. So this set of 4 was sold on an auction, which was probably a bad idea. They could have got more if they did a buy it now. But I mean, look at this one, $50. That one's free shipping. 43. It sells. It's crazy, and they don't sit long. They sell. If you're not asking an outrageous price, they're gonna sell. So that's an example of a really good sell-through rate. Now let's go over here. So I did a search on Darth Vader Funko Pop. I'm a fan of Star Wars, so if you've seen my videos, I think almost every video I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. So that kind of gives you an idea. I think Darth Vader is cool, but I wouldn't buy this. So again, Darth Vader Funko Pop, $428. So again, these are the listed ones, and I sorted it by used. Um, and that gives us 12 listed. So I'm going to write that down. 12 listed. And then I did the same exact thing as I did on the Taylor Swift CD. I did a search and I did the sold. I showed the sold ones. There are only 2 sold. So there are 12 listed and 2 sold. So let's do the math on that one. So number of items sold is 2 divided by the listed ones, which is 12. That gives us 0.16. So you move the decimal point over 2 places to the right, and that's 16% sell-through rate. It's not good. Don't buy this. And the second one here was from the UK, if you notice that. So that'll give you an idea. Some Funko Pops go for decent money. They don't go for as much as they used to. Just as a tip, they're really cool, but they don't necessarily sell for a lot. You have to do your research. Like anything else, you have to do your research. Just because one Funko Pop or one stuffed animal or one Beanie Baby, don't buy Beanie Babies, by the way. Just because one is good doesn't mean they're all going to be good. Number 3, how to price items. So I know you'd love to sell everything for like $1,000. It just doesn't happen that way. There are ebbs and flows depending on the season, depending on trends. So you may buy something one day that was selling really good yesterday, but today you go to list it and the price is like way down. So you're not going to price your item like way at the peak. You have to list it at what it's currently selling at. So the biggest thing I can tell you is don't go by what things are listed for. That's the biggest mistake you can make as far as I'm concerned. If you do a search on a particular thing, let's say I'm just looking at a hat I have for sale over there. Let's say you do a search for a Colorado's Rocky baseball hat. Some people are going to have them listed really, really high. Some are going to have them listed at market price. And it doesn't matter what it's listed for. People are going to pay only what it's worth in reality. So you do a search and then you go to the sold listing. So I mentioned going to the sold listings to find sell-through rate. You also go to the sold listings to find what things are actually selling for. So let's say that hat, the average price is $15. So you're not going to go off of what's listed at like $30. Nobody's going to buy the hat for $30 if it's only selling for $15. So that's the way you want to kind of figure out your pricing. So you have to make sure when you're buying products to resell, you have to know how much they're selling for. So for example, so that same hat, let's say I found it at a yard sale for $1 and it's selling for $15. Well, that's 15 times what I paid for it, which is good. Some things, like let's say if it's something that sells for $100, Well, maybe $25 is a good price to buy it at. It's only 4 times more than what I paid for it, but it's got a bigger profit margin there. Whereas if I buy something for $1 and I only sell it for 4 times that, that's only $4. By the time you're done with fees, eBay fees, and everything else, you'd be lucky that you're not losing money. So you kind of have to play it like that. As a rule of thumb, anything $1 to $2, I like to that I spend on something, I like to sell it for 10 times that amount. There are exceptions. I make exceptions all the time on things. Um, for bulk lots, I might pay up a little bit on things that will sell quickly and at a lower profit. I'd be okay with that. But that's more advanced. Don't even worry about that yet. For now, just concentrate on things that are going to make you a profit. Um, when you buy something, do the math in your head, kind of have an idea of what it's selling for on eBay, and with time, that'll kind of come to you. So a lot of how you price your items actually goes back to even before you purchase an item to resell. If the price isn't right, um, it's not going to be worth selling, and you just don't buy it. You're going to see a lot of items that you personally like. It doesn't mean that it's going to resell, so just keep that in mind. All right, so I am going to show you, and so this is a real life example of my sales. I'm going to show you a good example of pricing. I'm going to show you a really bad example of pricing, and I am going to show you an amazing example of pricing. And then I'm going to show you something that you should never buy, and um, crazy expectations that some people have. All right, so the first thing I'm going to show you, it was a good buy, and I priced it really well. So it's called the K&S Engineering Brass Tubes Lot of 13. I have no idea what this is used for, um, but it caught my attention at an estate sale, and I I bought it. I did a little quick research. I felt like it would make some money, so I bought it, and I actually paid up for it. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So, like I said, I bought this at an estate sale. I paid $22.50 for it. That's kind of paying up. So um, actually, I'll get back to that. So I paid $22.50 for that. The profit on that was $46.89. So so you see that it sold for $80. So after fees and all that fun stuff, my profit was $46.89. Um, so on higher priced items, I don't mind paying up. So the profit margin on something that cost me $22.50, um, more than doubled. It's a pretty decent amount of money. It's worth it. It's worth my time and effort to sell it. So that's a good example. So that's only like um, 2xing my investment, which for some things is a bad idea because it's just not worth your time and effort. And I'm going to show you one of those right now. So the next one was a really bad buy. I should not have purchased this to resell. So this is a vintage Block Island, Rhode Island trivet rest, whatever. I put it's a rare find. It is rare. So there were only, I believe there were only 2 others sold, and I don't think there were any listed. So that's good. So that's like an amazing sell-through rate, and it sold quickly. The problem was I didn't really look that closely at this thing when I bought it. I don't know if you can tell from the picture, but it's pretty worn. The other 2 that I used as reference were in much better condition. So let me tell you what this one is about. So as you can see, I sold it for $6.49. I paid $1.43 for it, and the profit on that was $2.52, which is not good. So uh, I did less than 2x my money on it. I, 2 times my investment. And normally on a product that I pay, if I were to pay $1.43, I would expect to sell it for at least $14 to $20. to make enough of a profit for me. So this was an example of a bad buy. I just did quick research, and even though I didn't lose money on it, in a sense I did, because my time is worth a lot more than $2.52 profit that I made off of this. All right, so now I am going to show you an amazing pricing or amazing pickup. And so this is a vintage set of Yankees pictures. Um, from my research, the original set was 12 pictures. This has 2 extra pictures, and if you look at the thumbnail there, you can see like 2 of them are a different kind of color. They're more yellowed. Those probably came from a different set. I just put them all together. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I know Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris are big names, and there's probably a couple other big names in there. I don't know enough about it. I may have been able to get more. I don't know. But anyway, so you can see I sold it for $115.28. I paid $5 for this. And after fees and all that stuff, I made a profit of $95.66. So that is like almost 20 times my investment. That was a winner. Do your research. The moral of the story is do your research, figure out how much you can actually sell it for, and work your way from there. Number 4, where to find things to resell on eBay. So the number of places that you can source from are only limited by your imagination. I'm only going to touch on a few of the most common ones, but if you use your imagination, there's a lot of ways to source products. So our favorite way is garage sales and yard sales. You can get some amazing prices at sales. People are just wanting to get rid of their stuff, especially in the spring and the fall where we are. We're in New Mexico. Those are the prime times for yard sales. The weather's a little cooler, and people just want to clear out their house. So yard sales, garage sales, that's number 1. Number 2, estate sales. So what happens when someone dies, especially if it's an older person, the family will hire an estate sale company. They'll come in and they're just going to sell mostly everything in the house. Sometimes you can get some really amazing deals. Sometimes they're going to be priced too high. But if you know what you're looking for, estate sales are a lot of fun, and you can get some really good deals. Another place you can find things are actually on Facebook Marketplace. So believe it or not, people sell things on Facebook Marketplace, but they also give things away that are of value. I think there is a category on Facebook Marketplace that's free. Check that out from time to time. You're going to get some decent deals. So just a story about Facebook Marketplace find that was a huge win. So my wife and I were out yard sailing one day, and I have alerts set on my phone to tell me when things pop up for free on Facebook Marketplace. And something popped up for Monster High Dollhouse. Now, I know Monster High, at the time, I knew Monster High was a good seller. I didn't know about the house, but the dolls were good, so I assumed the house would be good too. I shouldn't say a house, it was a castle. Freaky Fusion something it was called. But anyway, immediately I told my wife was driving. We were in between yard sales. Immediately I told her, well, let's go here and pick that up. And she like, why? So like, it's just a dollhouse. And it's like, you don't understand. I got there. Not only did they have the castle, but they had an entire bag of the Monster High dolls, accessories, clothes, shoes, what have you. Just for an example, so I don't know if you can see them over here. I have a couple of accessories and 1, 2, 3, 4 dolls here. That's all that's left of this lot I picked up. I probably had about 20 dolls. I had a whole bunch of accessories, and the castle was so big I wasn't going to sell that, but what I did do is break it down into its parts, and I sold off some of the parts because, you know, kids have these doll houses, whatever, pieces break, they want replacement parts. So for free, lot that I picked up, I probably made I made hundreds of dollars off of that. So it doesn't happen often, but it can happen. Another good find that I found on Facebook Marketplace, someone was selling a collection of their wood figures. So I have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wood figures. He sold, there were 20 to begin with. Um, he was selling them for, I think, $15 for all of them. These are priced right. I didn't give any bargain prices on that. That's why there's still so many still hanging around. But I've probably made $100 already off of the ones that I did sell, and that was a Facebook Marketplace find. If you watch my videos, you'll see the Starbucks mugs recently that I picked up on Facebook Marketplace. I paid up for those, and in general, these particular mugs are not worth a lot of money, but this particular series you can make a few bucks off of. So I paid up for a lot of 14 of them. Even before I was done shooting the video where I talked about them, 3 of them have already sold. So that was pretty cool. So Facebook Marketplace is a good place to look. Um, Other places, so there are online auctions, there are in-person auctions. I don't have a lot of experience with those, but I know a lot of resellers do great with them. Another thing is storage unit auctions. So have you ever seen that the TV show where they buy storage units, basically self-storage places where people don't pay their bills and they auction off all their stuff, basically. Um, you have to be careful with those. I don't have experience with those, but again, people have really good experiences with that. They do really well in some cases. Sometimes you can lose a lot of money too, so just be careful with that. And honestly, well, I should probably put this first, but you're just starting out. If you don't have capital to go out and buy stuff, just go through your house and pick out things you don't use anymore and start with that. I've sold, when I was a kid, 12 years old, 12, 13 years old, I would collect patches wherever we traveled. I had a ton from Disney. Now, that was like from 1982. I remember this one trip, I bought a ton of patches. So they're all considered vintage, and I've been making a killing on those patches. What else? Um, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but I've sold a lot of personal items. Start there. If you don't have capital to buy stuff, that's a good way to start. Um, Old clothes. If you look up some brands of particular clothes, if they're in good shape, some clothes goes really, really well. Other clothes, not so much. I'm not an expert at clothes, but what else? Vintage blankets. I have an old jean jacket that's hanging up over here. I haven't listed it yet, just because I'm still kind of attached to it, but I'm thinking about selling that. I haven't fit in it for probably 20 years, so there's really no sense in keeping it, honestly. But yeah, even old appliances, as long as they work, clean them up and sell them. Appliances can do really well. Electronics can do really well. Um, the thing I'll say about appliances and electronics is you probably want a little bit of experience in shipping before you get into that stuff. Um, if something breaks in transit, you're going to be responsible for a return shipping, and you don't want that. You want to be a good reseller. So again, the the ideas are limitless. Just think outside the box, and you'll find ways to find products. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you could, it'd be a huge, huge favor if you could go ahead and subscribe to our channel, like the video, add comments. What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Everything helps. We're trying to build this channel up to 1,000 new subscribers pretty quickly. We're a brand new channel, so any help you could be is very much appreciated. Thank you very much.